All right, I'm going to work a few practice problems that we worked in class, that kids asked about in class on Thursday. These are from 5.4. One of them was 43. Remember here, when you see 7/12, we want to find a way to think of two angles that will give us 7/12. Well, there's our three angles. If you use 3/12 and 4/12, that'll be 7/12. So 3/12 is pi over 4, 4/12 is pi over 3. So we're going to do the tangent of a negative pi over 4 plus a negative pi over 3. So that's our A and B. So we're going to plug that into our identity. So identity says on top we're going to do the tangent of A. So the tangent of a negative pi over 4 plus the tangent of B. That'll be the tangent of a negative pi over 3. Then on the bottom we have 1 minus the tangent of a negative pi over 4 times the tangent of a negative pi over 3. So if we plug in, well, from our triangle, we know the tangent of pi over 4, if we look at our two triangles, the tangent of pi over 4 is 1 over 1, so it's 1. So the tangent of a negative pi over 4 is a negative 1. Pi over 3, we draw our triangle. The tangent's radical 3 over 1. So if the tangent of pi over 3 is radical 3 over 1, tangent negative is a negative radical 3 over 1. On the bottom, we plug in the same 2. The tangent of a negative pi over 4 was negative 1. The tangent of a negative pi over 3 was negative radical 3. So on top, we have negative 1 minus radical 3. On the bottom, we have 1. Now here I have minus, 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 so that's a minus 1 times radical 3. So it looks like that. If you didn't like the radical on the bottom, you could take everything times radical 3. That'd be a negative radical 3. That'd be a negative radical 9. That'd be radical 3 minus radical 9. So if you didn't like the radicals on the bottom, that'd be fine. All right, the next one is 44. Now, if you look at this one, you want to look at all that. That looks like it matches the right side of an identity. If you look at your identity sheet, it looks like that matches the right side of tangent of A plus B. So there's your A, there's your B. So that equals the tangent of A, which is 80, plus B, which is 55. So if that matches the right side, it has to equal the left side. That's what we have. Well, we can simplify that. 80 plus 55 is 135. We can find 135. That's over here in the second quadrant. If that's 135, then this is 45. So if we draw our triangle, it'd be negative 1, 1, and radical 3. So the tangent would be 1 over negative 1, so it's just negative 1. All right? Number 47, again, that looks like the tangent of A plus B. So we're just going to plug it into that identity. So it says tangent of A, so the tangent of 180, plus the tangent of B, that's the tangent of theta. On the bottom, you have 1 minus the tangent of A, so tangent 180, times the tangent of B, tangent of theta. So we got that just by plugging 180 in for A and theta in for B. Well, now the tangent of 180, we know 180 is over here. When it lands on the line, we pick a point, that would be negative 1, 0. We know tangent's y over x, that'd be 0 over negative 1, which is 0. So we're going to put 0 in for the tangent of 180 in both places. So when we simplify, 0 plus tangent theta is just tangent theta. 1 minus 0 times anything is just 1. So the answer is just tangent theta. Okay. Now 49, here they give us some information. Cosine S is a negative 15/17. Sine T is 4/5. Tells you S is in quadrant 2 and P is in quadrant 1. So we're going to find, it's asked us to find the sine of s plus t. So the first thing to do is write out the identity. Well, that's just a and b. So the identity says you take the sine of a, which is s, times the cosine of t, which is b, plus the cosine of a, so cosine of s, times the sine of b, which is the sine of t. We write out that first. Then, there's our formula, so we're going to substitute in what we know. We know the cosine of s is a negative 5/17. So over here, negative 15/17. We know the sine of t is 4/5, so here for the sine of t, we put 4/5. Now these other two we don't know. We're going to draw a triangle for those. It says s is in quadrant 2. So let's draw s over here in quadrant 2. The cosine of s is negative 15, so the adjacent's negative 15, the hypotenuse is 17. Well, 17 squared is 289, minus 15 squared, which is 225, that gives you 64. So this side is 8. So now for s, the sine of s is 8/17. So we can plug that in. And we need to say the same thing for t. Now it says t is in the first quadrant. So if we draw t over here in the first quadrant, it says the sine of t is 4/5. That means opposite is 4, hypotenuse is 5. 25 minus 16 is 9, so that side is 3. So the cosine of t is 3/5. So we wrote out the identity. We substitute in the two numbers they gave us. We drew triangles to find the other two. Now we just multiply and combine. So top times top, 8 times 3 is 24. 17 times 5, 85. Minus top times top, 15 times 4 is 60. Bottoms, 17 times 5 is 85. We have a common denominator, so we subtract. 24 minus 60 is a negative 36/85. So that's the sine of s plus t. Well, now they also ask us to find the tangent of s plus t. So again, write out the identity. That's the tangent of a, which is s, plus the tangent of b, which is t. On the bottom, you have 1 minus the tangent of the first times the tangent of the second. So that's our identity. Now we substitute in. Now they didn't give us any tangents, but since we already drew the triangles, we can use those for our tangents. Like here for s, the tangent of s is 8 over a negative 15. So negative 8/15. The tangent of t from this triangle is 4/3. Then plug those same numbers in the bottom. Again, the tangent of s is negative 8/15. Tangent of t is 4/3. Okay? Now on the top we need to get a common denominator. Well, the common denominator for 15 and 3 is 15. So that'll stay negative 8. Here 3 goes into 15 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. So that's our top. Now down here we need to multiply these two together first. That'll be top times top will be 32. The bottom times bottom will be 45. So now we have 1 minus a minus, so it'll be 1 plus that. Well, that's 45/45. Oops. Sorry. So that was 1, and then this is going to be plus, and then here when you multiply 8 times 4 is 32, 15 times 3 is 45. Now when you add, you can think of that as 45/45. So 45 plus 32, that's 77/45. Now if we take the top times the reciprocal of the bottom, the top will be 12/15 times the reciprocal of the bottom be 45/77. Let's see, 15 goes into 45 3 times. So now 12 times 3 is 36. 1 times 7 is 77. Then they also ask you this one, which quadrant s plus t is in. Well, if you look, our sign was negative. Sign is negative in the bottom, so that's quadrants 3 and 4. Here our tangent was positive. Tangent's positive in the diagonal ones, Well, that's quadrant 1 and 3. So what do they have in common? Looks like quadrant 3. So S plus T is in quadrant 3. Now the other one was asked was on number 50. Now here, to me, I see these parentheses here, and I'm thinking right away A plus B. So that's the sine of A plus B. Well, we have an identity for that. So that'd be the sine of A times the cosine of B plus the cosine of A times the sine of B. This one's the same way. That's the sine of A minus B. Whoops. So that's going to be the sine of X times the cosine of B minus the cosine of X times the sine of B. So we have all that. Now let's see if we can simplify that. Well, here I see that should put in A and B, that should be X and Y. Sorry about that. So let's see. Here's a cosine X sine Y. Here's another, that's a negative cosine X sine Y. So those two cancel each other out. Now I have a sine X cosine Y and another sine X cosine Y. Well, that's 2 sine X cosine Y. So those are some of them we did in class today.